Hey, it's Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and it is Wednesday. It's November 4th. This will be our chart lesson for the, and I am still struggling with this head cold, so you'll have to bear with me. I'll try to get through this as quickly as I can. I'm not going to spend too much time talking about a lot of things. I'm just going to talk about each of the trades and what I saw today, and just kind of get on through this thing because I'm really struggling. So. Um, Here's what I saw today. It started out really range-like, um, and you can see we do have a two-tiered channel working lower, but at the same time, um, we're swinging to both sides of we're getting a trend down, a trend up, a trend down, trend up. The overall bias of the day was definitely down. Um, but when it's swinging both ways like this, generally you can trade the other direction. If this was a real steep trend and a real small trend, I'd say just don't do anything but go short. Like right in here, you don't want to do anything but go short. Um, you don't want to be looking to buy. You got to wait till you get a nice reversal like so here um, after a move like that. And so, um, but when prices are constantly going back and forth above and beyond, generally you can trade. Notice that they're mostly all shorts. There's a couple of longs in here and there's a couple of green ones as well. But that's because the overall bias was down. And generally you want to stick with the overall bias as much as possible. So I hope that's clear. Uh, and a lot of times what people will do is they'll get a real strong trend and they start trying to pick bottoms and they get burned. You definitely want to wait till you kind of get a confirmed trend going in the other direction. Um, so let's go ahead and talk about the trades, and let me wrap this thing up because I'm really struggling to get through this without coughing and wheezing and but anyway, early on, when you see this at your far right, when that's all you got right here, this is kind of a range. You get a failed break out here, you pull back, and you find resistance right back there again. So you get kind of a second entry. That's not a perfect signal bar, but it broke higher turn, and so there's like what you're looking at the resistance here, and you're looking at like a failed break higher. I don't think you want to take that first break. The bar's too big. It's not that far away from the EMA yet, and it pulls back up. If this was a more bearish bar, I would have liked it. This one is real close to green. I went ahead and marked it red because I liked it. Um, it pulls back again and then gives you that failed second entry long, which is really the better entry. So I like to add it on there if you weren't out of this one yet. I'd like using a limit order here because it's not a perfect bar. So let it break lower and drop your limit order in, let it kind of come back. And if you're not out yet, when this one turns down, just jump in there. It is a little bit of a range like right there, and that's going to confuse some people. But the reason there's a range there is prices are bouncing. You've got the strong resistance here of the bigger pattern, and so the bigger pattern is kind of taking over here. You got to be careful going short into this, so you may want to use a limit order, but two tests of this line, and you're probably heading lower. Even if you get a failed break lower and a pullback, you're probably going to get enough. So I like that one. That confuses people that don't have a lot of experience because this is somewhat congestive here, and people say, well, you don't want to. If you're not, my answer there is if you're not sure without a lot of experience, the best trade is no trade. Just watch it. But as you can see, you would have missed a really good trade here. And then it pulls back here. This is a great signal bar, but it's too big. And you've had support here, so you're better off waiting to see if you get the breakout. Let me make this a little bigger. I'm sorry. You get the breakout pullback short right here. Notice how the former support is now acting as resistance. And this is like a double top, and then this is a first entry and a second entry. So you're going to trap some people trying to pick bottoms here. Just go short right there, and you get another nice move down. And you really get a break outside this trend line here in a new low, but it makes one more push down. I don't like going short here It is a second entry short, but look at your signal bar. And then by the time you get this big signal bar, you're right back into the support area right across here. So I don't like that one. It worked, but that's one you're probably better off to watch. Plus, we just came off the low side of these first two swings. That would have given you, that's how I found the trend line. You draw it off these first two swings, and then you get confirmation here. But you really won't know for sure till it comes back up here, and you see what happens. And guess what? You drag this line to the top, and it turns down to the tick right off of it. You know you got something good going on then. And then we pull back. We get a nice, look how it goes right through the EMA. Get a first entry short, pull back second entry short. There's a little bit of a trap right there. But what this is this midline is in play here, and you may not have had that in place yet. It's doubtful you'd have that in place, so you just kind of got to ignore that. But you get a second entry long there, and if you draw this line off these top ones and drag it down to here, it bounces right off of that, and it's a second entry long. I don't like this signal bar, so what I liked is to wait on this one and wait on a break above it, and then drop a limit order in there and try to get an extra tick or two. See if you can get a little better entry. You still got plenty of room before you get back up to here. But the real clue is this failed break lower and this run right up through there. And then you get two legs back, so it is a second entry. It's not a great signal bar, though. And if you waited on this signal bar, it's too big, and you really don't get a good entry. So this one probably should be green, because if you're going to enter that one, you've got to use a limit order when it broke above this one. So I'm going to change that one to green. It should have been green. And then remember, this was the original support area right across there. Notice how we push back through it and we find support again. But by the time you get your setup, you still got a horrible signal bar. So I think you're better off to wait. You do get a close outside, and you could just get a tick higher here and it turned down. So you really can't take that trade. It's real congested looking. It's just not a good setup. There's nothing good going on there. It would have worked, but the next time it probably won't. But when this turns down right to the tick, I like entering there. You've pretty much got your, oops, didn't mean to do that. Your two measured legs up now. There's leg one. And then there's leg two. And guess where it's at? Right at the trend line, and turns down. So I like and you already had your break and you out. So I like going short right there. You got enough room, and it did go higher first and then turn to go out the low side. Just have a stop right there. You got enough room to get out before you get back to the EMA, but it just shoots right on through. That turns out to be a really good trade. And at that point, I would be, when we start heading lower again, you're looking for prices to touch this low, but you also want to look for your measured move as well. And so I'd measure that and bring this over here. And that's what you're looking for, your low there. Notice we ended up getting it, but it came a lot lower, but that's probably why we didn't make that high right there. It ends up going a little bit further, and then it bounces again. So now we're headed lower. It's tempting to go short right here, and really you could. That's a pretty strong move, so you're probably going to get another leg down, and you're probably going to get a measured leg down. And it does really confirm that trend. This confirms the trend line, so this one's great. This one doesn't, and it's kind of a little doji, but it is a turn back down off here. So, if you want to be a little more aggressive, I'm okay with that one. But I think you're better off to wait on the confirmed trend to the downside, and there it is. And you're probably going to get your measured move, or at least down to the lower side of the trend line. And this thing just shoots on down. It was a little unclear where this was. I used this low here, but in the end, I think it was a little bit higher right across there. I think we just had a little bit of an overshoot there. And we get a break here, a couple legs to a new low, then they try to push lower one more time. And look how it shoots up through the EMA. It pulls back. You get a little double bottom, and it ticks lower and turns. It goes right out the upside. Just put your buy stop right there. if you can get in within the 2 points. If you can't, let it tick higher and drop a quick limit order in there and see if you can get filled. Somebody else asked me about this trade. Uh, they asked me about entering here, and this is the better entry right here. I don't think you want to enter there, even though it's a little failed break lower, but it's just such a big bar, and I think you're better off to wait on your entry right here. And there is some concern about the resistance right here, but this, I guarantee you, this trapped people when it turned down and when it shot out the bottom first and then turned and went right up, and you can see how bullish that reversal is. That's a sure sign of a trap. So I liked it then. I really thought we'd go back to the high side, but we didn't. We turned down here. We pull back. It goes out the top. It actually goes out the top first and then turns and goes down. I'm okay with entering right there because this is a trading range here, and this is like a little failed break higher, and this is your second entry. You know, it is right into that EMA, so it's a little bit concerning, but if you draw that trend line right through there, it's coming right off that trend line. Then it comes back. You actually get a failed second entry long here, so you could have entered below that bar, but notice it doesn't. This is just more of an inside bar, and then it breaks higher and turns down, so that gives it even a double. There's a trap there, and this is borderline green. The only reason this is green is because there's not much room before you get to these lows here, and so you got to be a little bit concerned about that. But it's pretty obvious this channel is correct now, and we're probably heading back down to this low side, and that's exactly where it goes. And you'd want to be looking for a measured move here. There's your first leg, and there's your second leg. You see that's pretty much a perfect match. It went one tick further, and then it bounces. And notice how it comes up. It doesn't get much resistance there at the EMA. It pushes through. It pulls back. Tries to go higher again. Then you get your confirmation of your trend line, your failed second entry short. You get a nice bullish reversal bar. Just go long there. This is one of those where I like to add on. Notice what happens. It breaks higher and it pulls back, and it gives you one more little trap there and then turns and goes up. So even though you've entered here, this was just like a little trap to fool people. Definitely don't go short there because you just come off the low side. And I like adding on to that thing, and that's one of those you can double up and get two runners out of it and get two scalps out of it. And there's another second entry long here, a little smaller, but it's not a very good signal bar. This would have to be your signal bar, and it's too big, it's too close to here, so I think you got to let this one go. Notice it comes down, pulls back. It gives you almost a repeat pattern of what you saw right over here. Goes out the high side, turns, and goes down. I like going short right there because it's right off that trend line. It confirms it. And this is another one where it pulls back and gives you that failed second entry long. And so it's a trap, and I like adding on again right there. And so you get like a double up again. And that got you into the 2 o'clock hour, nothing else going on. So nice, like I said, a nice two-tiered channel working down. But it is going back and forth to both sides of the EMA, so it's more like range sections kind of dropping down. And if you measured this one right here, I haven't even measured it yet, but I guarantee it's going to be about a measured move. There's your upper side of that, and there's your lower side. So it's a little bit lower than that. We ended up getting it right there, and it's kind of swinging around both sides there. But anyway, that's what you would have looked for. Coming down, we got within a tick that first time, and then a few minutes later it came on down to it. So that's close enough. But by that time, it was more obvious that, hey, this is probably a two-tiered channel. But you still have the range type qualities that allow you to kind of go both ways as long as you're getting a good trap or confirmed trend going in the other direction. So, but I'm going to wrap it up. I'm really struggling. I apologize. Hopefully I'll get through this in a couple of days, but I've really been struggling the last couple of days. So, hope you had a good trading day. We'll be back again to do it tomorrow and wrap the week up, and we'll see you then. And I'm going to call it quits for today. This is Mack with PriceActionTradingSystem.com, and we'll see you next time.